Hey, what's going on, guys? It's Torin here with another Warhammer Total War online commentary. In this particular battle, I will be playing the Warriors of Chaos, led by these three Chaos Giants here. And I'm going to be facing off against the Vampire Count's opponent. So this is the Grim and the Grave DLC, so hopefully we'll see some new units or abilities from my opponent over here, but we'll get to that shortly. So in my front line here, I have five actually, of Chaos Marauders. So this is my front line. Again, when you have these monstrous units, it's good to have a lot of fodder units and, generally when you spend that much on a single unit, you're not going to have much money for your infantry line. So I have just simple Chaos Marauders with great weapons. I just wanted my fodder units to at least be able to fight and do a little bit of damage against Graveguard. So again, I brought Chaos Marauders with great weapons. So that is my fodder line, that's my front line, and hopefully they'll do their job there. In the second line, I have three Chaos Giants. These guys are just absolute monsters. They're armor piercing, they're anti-infantry, they cause terror, 530 weapon strength, and also very high leadership. So again, when all these Chaos Marauders rout off, these guys will be there at the end of the day, hopefully fighting. So we'll see how that goes. I also have Prince Sigvald back here. I feel like he's quite a good choice against Vampire Counts, especially since they just recently nerfed potions. So as you guys know, if you look at the little health bar here, each unit can only be healed a certain amount per game. So now the value of potions and other things like that are, it's not going to be as good. So, bringing one potion is viable, but bringing two, you might not get the full healing out of it. So having someone like Prince Sigvald, who has inherent regeneration and the Auric armor, as well as charged defense against all, is very resilient against, Lord or General sniping. So we'll see how that goes. In the back here, I have Chaos Warhounds, as well as Dragon Ogres. So this is kind of my anti-cavalry platoon back here. The Chaos Warhounds will engage, apply poison, slow the opponent's cavalry, and then the Dragon Ogres will come in unimpeded and hopefully be able to crush them down. So they have 100 weapon strength, which is quite serious. And when you look at my opponent over here with Blood Knights, they have 36 weapon strength. So just in raw, hand-to-hand combat, the Dragon Ogres are going to be very, very strong, especially when I imbue them with abilities from the Lore of Fire, from this Chaos Sorcerer over here. And also, I feel the Lore of Fire is a good choice against the Vampire Counts because some of their units, like the Strigoi Ghoul King and other units in their roster, have a weakness to fire. So being able to imbue your units with fire damage through the Flaming Sword of Ruin is quite good. So my opponent's army composition, he has 3 groups of Fellbats, which I'm not sure what he was looking to do with those. Perhaps just dive, one of my units, tie him up, that kind of thing. Then he has Cryptors, which are pretty good against Chaos. They're armor piercing and, pretty resilient. Then he has Skeleton Spearmen, which was actually worked out to be quite a good choice. They're the shielded, not so much, but the anti-large and the charge defense is going to be pretty good, I would say. Not necessarily the charge defense, I suppose, but the anti-large is going to be quite good. In the secondary line, he has just standard Graveguard, so just the anti-infantry, shielded again. Chaos usually doesn't bring a lot of missile infantry, but sometimes I've seen some Marauder Horseman strategies that, harass on the perimeter and do that type of thing, so not an awful investment. He does have a White King. He brought 1 potion wisely, very aware of the new nerfs. He has a Banshee here with a potion as well. And then for his Lord, it looks like he has a Master Necromancer to provide that regeneration aura, and he does have Lore of Vampires with Gaze of Nagash. It looks like he has Raised Dead, and yeah, it looks like he brought the whole spectrum of the Lore of Vampires. And then, of course, another group of Cryptors. And up on the hill, this is his cavalry platoon. So perhaps he's planning to dive bomb my cavalry with these bats, tie them up, and then engage with the Blood Knights and do something similar to what I was planning to do. So without further ado, guys, let's go ahead and get started and see how this battle goes. So I advance on him, and I immediately just wanted to get this battle over here started. So I pulled the Chaos Warhounds, and I also pulled the Chaos Sorcerer with the Lore of Fire, because I really wanted to imbue these Dragon Ogres, get that huge damage. And I do send these Chaos Warhounds, and it actually they get killed so fast. Look at their life go down. They just got absolutely destroyed. But they did apply the poison to these guys, slow them down a little bit, and now the Dragon Ogres are able to get in here. So he does the same thing and tries to tie me up here, and he does a really good job. So my opponent definitely outplayed me there. His timing was a little bit better, but I pull my Dragon Ogres right away and just keep on these guys because I don't want them to get that charge bonus. And once I'm able to get in there, I also do have a heroic unit here. So hopefully that'll pay off for me. And as you can see, the Hounds they're out of here. They've had enough fun. So these guys are going to engage here, and my guys are going to just absolutely demolish them in hand-to-hand combat here. These Dragon Ogres are just beating down these Blood Knights, which is excellent for me. Plus they have the support of the Lore of Fire over there. In the front line, things are going quite well. These Chaos Marauders are engaged against the Graveguard and the Cryptors, and the Giant is in there just beating these guys down, so definitely cannot complain. So I basically just sent 1 Giant to each part of the battle. I have 1 here. I have 1 back here who's doing pretty well, and you want to send the Giants on the Graveguard and the high-value units. You want to really make sure that you don't target the Skeleton Spearman, because it's easy to do that in these high-intensity situations, but you want to make sure he's on the Graveguard or at least targeting heroic units. Then over here, the Giant this group of Chaos Marauders got tied up by this White King, but I make sure to bring him in to support this Giant because he's pretty surrounded right now, and thankfully for me, he is targeting the Graveguard, which is the valuable unit there. So on the hill, I was able to just absolutely crush him, and now this Chaos Sorcerer is coming with these Dragon Ogres. My opponent immediately senses the pressure with his Master Necromancer and begins to run the opposite direction. So I am just spamming all of the Lure of Fire abilities, cascading Fire Cloak over here, which will be good against Graveguard. It also gets the Giant, so hopefully it'll turn the tide of the battle over here. And right here, these Dragon Ogres, I was trying to catch him, but he was just running wisely, so I decided to just pull them into the back of these Graveguard over here. And the Dragon Ogres, even though they are meant for anti-large battles, they do have armor-piercing capabilities. So against, Graveguard, with that 100 weapon strength, they're going to crush through them. And you can see this unit of Graveguard, with the Giant hitting them as well, just got absolutely demolished. So I was very happy about that. Right here, things are going pretty well for me, I would say. These Marauders are doing their job as fodder, absorbing the most of the damage from over here in the wings, and these Cryptors, a lot of them are fighting the Marauders. And this Giant is kind of just getting to beat down on these guys unimpeded, so I was very happy about that. And I believe SIGVALD is here in the middle. So SIGVALD'S flank, unfortunately, did collapse, but the Magnificent One shouldn't have a problem. He still has the health of his Giant, and it's mostly fodder units here. And, with his regeneration, it'll almost negate whatever damage he's taking from the Skeleton Spearmen, so definitely no complaints. Over here, this Giant is, he's definitely in the losing battle, and these Chaos Marauders are having a little bit of a problem. The Cryptors are applying their poison, and his leadership is getting, starting to tank down a little bit. That's partially due to the fact that he has this White King over here. So I was trying to get this Master Necromancer with the Dragon Ogres, but my opponent was doing a very good job tying them up. He actually summoned a group of zombies with Raised Dead, and then cast the Curse of Years, which, I don't know if the Curse of Years was necessary, but the zombies were very, very good at tying these guys up. And you can see, this is just a complete waste of time for me to be here. So I realized that here in a minute. I believe I was microing over here on the far end, but again, good, well played on my opponent's part. So I pulled the Chaos Sorcerer in to help out over here. I was almost out of Winds of Magic at this point, so I figured I might as well get him into the combat. And I noticed that, I had some isolated troops over here. SIGVALD was isolated. It wasn't going well. So I pull all my troops into kind of a Death Star, which I feel is good because the Giants back-to-back is going to be quite strong. So my opponent is trying to tie up these Dragon Ogres. So I started to run in a circle here because I was going to come and wrap them around and try and get them on some better targets. So that was kind of my game plan there. Right here, the battle's going well. The Cascading Fire Cloak is really, really giving me that armor piercing and, just additional stats. And these Cryptors are starting to take a serious beating from these Giants. And other than that, he doesn't have much power here left, to be honest. I mean, he has some skeletons, which, these Marauders will get through pretty easily. And I'm able to get the Giants around and engage on this, I believe it's his White King, and they're going to cut through that guy really quick. They have the anti-large. He is considered a large unit, and there he goes. He pops his potion, which is great value for me, because that's essentially like getting rid of one of his lives, and it's doing pretty well. And the other Dragon Ogres here are engaged with the Cryptors, so they're fighting mostly large units. And now I was able to pull some auxiliary units who are kind of in the back end of that flank, have them come over here and just tie up a lot of these units, which will allow these Dragon Ogres to take less damage, which is what you really want at the end of the day, because they will generate good results from you if they can keep fighting. So the Giants and SIGVALD over here are doing pretty good. I mean, those two alone are going to be able to hold most of these guys back. And as far as the unit breakdown goes, I have 153 troops left to his 403. Granted, that's kind of an inflated stat because he has zombies and skeletons and those type of things. So take it with a grain of salt, but most of my Marauders are running off at this point, but, at the end of the day, it's not so bad because they have done their job. They absorbed the damage, and a lot of my Giants are, not a lot of them, but one of them's in pretty good health. This guy's having some problems. He's going to go take a rest. And this other Giant over here, I just realized he was routed. I pull back these guys to help out, and unfortunately for him, he's going to have trouble getting through these zombies. But, at the very least, guys, it looks really cool when he's crushing zombies. Oh, man, did they really get him? Oh, that's cool. He took him out on the way down. Man, I've never seen that happen before. That's actually a really cool animation. So, kudos to those zombies. They did a good job. My Dragon Ogres unfortunately got chased off. A lot of these Vampire Counts units in a very pitched battle like this, they do cause fear and terror, so they can send your units routing off a little sooner than you expect. But I do still have Prince SIGVALD. He's in great shape, and he's feeling good. He has the support of a very healthy Giant. And my opponent doesn't have much left here. He has this White King, who's being targeted by the Giant, and his health is rapidly going down. And I believe the Master Necromancer is around here somewhere. I know he's hiding. Either that or he might have died here a minute ago. Nope, here he is. So the Master Necromancer is in good shape, and my opponent is wisely kind of keeping him in the wing to provide regeneration to all his troops. And what did he use there? It looks like he used the augmentation of speed and attack for his guys. So might help out a little bit, but most of his units are starting to crumble, and you can see that other giant came back, and, you know, he's not in the best health, but he's still fighting, you know, and still stomping, and every second they fight, you're gaining huge value. And also, unfortunately for my opponent, I do have some Chaos Marauders coming back, but he does a good job of using bats to tie them up and chase them away. This is how you want to use bats, kind of in a similar manner to Goblin Wolf Riders, where you chase off routing units, because if these groups of armor-piercing troops had gotten back on, you know, his Graveguards there, could have been in some trouble. So right now, you know, his last troop really is this Master Necromancer, and he's having a pretty bad time here, and he's going to start crumbling, and these Giants and Dragon Ogres are quite a force to be reckoned with, especially with Prince Sigvald still alive, and he's trying his best, but as soon as one of those big sticks comes down on him, there he goes. He tried his best. It's definitely a trooper there, but yeah, it was a lot of fun this game. I had a great time experimenting with the new composition and just using a similar tactic that I like to use with the Greenskins with just fodder and monstrous units. But again, you know, the Blood Knights, I think that was a pivotal factor. That battle was very long and, you know, atrocious in many ways, but at the end of the day, it came down to those Blood Knights getting slayed. Those Dragon Ogres made quick work of them. But I think in a straight-up matchup, the Blood Knights would have done really well. But having the Chaos Sorcerer with the Lure of Fire, he imbued them with the fire to give them the 22% damage and, you know, other pertinent stats. They were able to pull out and win it for me. So that was definitely big, because imagine if his Blood Knights had lived. He could have just been cycle charging my Giants, getting that monstrous, you know, the anti-large from them and doing, you know, great things. So really good game to my opponent, Baruga. It was a lot of fun. Had a great time, and thank you guys for watching. Really appreciate the support, and I'll keep trying this giant comp and mix it up with maybe throw in some trolls or something. We'll see how that goes. So thanks again, guys, and have an excellent night. Take care.